Topic 4-2, sums and products. We're going to continue to be looking at quadratics and factoring. However, this one we're just kind of doing a little exercise in finding sums and products. You can still find factoring in Chapter 8 from your Holt textbook, Section 4, starting on page 548. The reason I put a calculator in this beginning of this is there's a way you can find a list of factors, and I'm going to show that to you as we go through some. Now the first one, when you're writing expressions which sum is to first be given the expression and yield a product of the second given expression. So let's just review that sums are addition, you're adding something together, you're combining things, and products you're dealing with multiplication, something that you've multiplied a factor times a factor to yield a product. So the sum, you want it to add to a positive 8, but you want it to yield the product when you multiply two factors together of a positive 7. Well, we know with integers you can either have 7 times 1 for a positive 7x squared, or negative 7x and a negative 1 for a negative 7x. But since you want it to be positive, then we know the choice would be a pair that if I add 7 and 1, I'm going to get 8. Now here's the example of the one that I listed. In number 2, we listed several factors. But to find the factors of 36, you can use a trick with your calculator, and that is to use y equal button, and you say y equals, you put whatever number you're looking for to factor and divide that by an x. And remember, using an x button here is easier than saying alpha x. So this is a universal variable for x. Okay, to find the factors, you've put it in y equals, you had hit second graph, which will give you the table. So starting with, I'll slide this up to the very first one, you get all the list of the factors that I've listed here. 1 times 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6, 6, and so on. I did list the negatives too, because it can have a product of a positive number when a negative times a negative is multiplied together. So you're wanting to look for something that's going to give you a product of, the sum of 15. So look closely to see that all of these are our factors of 36. Which one added together is going to give you 15? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, 12, 13, 14, 15. That are the two. A product would give 36, but if you add them together, you're going to get 15. Here again, 3 is a prime number, but this time we want it to be negative. So you will be multiplying a negative 1 and a negative 3 to yield a negative 4x. Last one on this page, you want it to be negative 12, but a positive x. Again, I've listed all of the the factors of 12, negative and positives. Here, starting with negatives, well, actually all of them dealing with all of the ones that have negatives. But you want to yield just a positive 1x. So look closely. If I use this one and combine these two, that'd be a negative 1. So it wouldn't be that. To get a positive 1, if I have a negative 3x and a 4x, I'm going to get the positive 1 that I need. So it'll be that one. Okay, page 2. You've got to add to 0, but the factors of 64. So again, just to show for practice, if you put in to your calculator y equals 64 divided by x and then go to your table, you're going to get all the list of the factors. 1 and 64, 2 and 32, skip over the ones with decimals, 4 and 16, and then so on. There's one more down here. You'll want to keep scrolling to see 8 and 8. So notice that you want it to add up to 0. Well, a positive and a negative, positive 8 and a negative 8 cancel each other out, would give us 0. But multiplied together, a negative times a positive gives you a negative 64. I didn't go listing all of the ones for this one, but the product of 300, you're going to find lots of list of factors of 300 when you put it in y equals. 300 divided by x, go to second graph, get you your table. You're going to have quite a few. 2 and 150, 3 and 100, 475, and so on. But the ones that I knew that if I combined together to get a negative 20, it would be a 10 and a 30. It's just deciding which one is supposed to be negative that's going to give me a negative 20. And that would be a negative 30. If I'm at a negative 30 and I add 10, I'm going to be at negative 20. But if I'm at negative 10 and I add 30, I'd be at positive 20, not negative. So be careful with that one. And the last one, you want it to combine together to be a negative 1 and have a product of negative 6. So you do know that you have to have opposites to have negative 6 as your product. I want it to yield a negative 1, so I've left one off here, because you would say a negative 3x times a positive 2x. And that's actually going to be your answer, because if you're at negative 3 and you add 2, you'll just be to negative 1. And that concludes 4-2.